Good afternoon, this is Media Center, Ukraine, Odesa. And we continue with the briefing dedicated to Odessa region's assistance in restoring the occupied settlements of Kherson region. Our guest is Serhiy Zhyrnyi, Acting Director of the Odessa Regional Department of Capital Construction and Road. Thank you very much for being with us today. So let's start with the assistance of our region to the Kherson region. Odessa and Odessa Regional Administration is one of the implementers of the President's side-by-side program. We are responsible for 3 settlements, and in the framework of the President's side-by-side program, the Department of Capital Construction and Roads coordinates the activities to reconstruct damaged facilities, including housing and other infrastructure facilities. The settlements in question are the village of Novodmitrivka, Kiselivka, and Blagodatne. Blagodatne and Kiselivka belong to Chernobyevka community, and the village of Novodmitrivka is Velika Alexandrovska community. In Novodmitrivka, we have already surveyed 68 residential buildings. In Blagodatne village, 80 residential buildings and 4 objects of social infrastructure. And in the Kiselivka village, 114 residential buildings have already been surveyed and 4 objects of social infrastructure. The total number of damaged objects is 270. Of which 14 facilities of residential infrastructure were restored by the owners at their own expense. That is, the total number of objects to be restored is 257. 257 defective certificates have been compiled, and according to these documents, the estimated cost of restoration is around 230 million hryvnias, including the amount for capital repairs of social infrastructure facilities amounting to 196 million hryvnias. You've asked how we provide aid within the project. Following the order of the head of the Odessa Regional Administration, Mr. Kipar, we have transferred to the Kherson budget 20 million hryvnias, including 4.5 million hryvnias for Velika Alexandrovka community and 15.5 to Chernobyevka village council. As for these facilities, the local communities have the role of customers, so they order the work, and we coordinate the reconstruction activities. We also provide information to the President's office and report to them. As for our achievements, for example, in the village of Kiselivka of Chernobyevka community, we have reconstructed 6 houses, and the work is ongoing for 6 more residential buildings. In the village of Blagodatne, we have finalized work for 5 residential buildings, and the work is ongoing for 4 more residential buildings. In the village of Novodmitrivka, and we have finalized work on 5 residential buildings, and the contracts have been concluded for 7 more houses. So the work is ongoing. Last week, we visited Kiselivka and Blagodatne with the representatives of the President's office. So we continue our work. We are also responsible for four more settlements: the village of Barvin, Krutые Yары, Soldatska, and Chernobyevka community, and Novovorontsovka community, the village of Lubimivka. As for Barvinok, Krutые Yары, and Soldatska, there is still more 15 more of infrastructure facilities for reconstruction, and we have surveyed 172 houses, and we expect to have around 300 infrastructure facilities that need reconstruction or need to be built from the scratch. This is briefly as for the program. If you have questions, I will be pleased to answer them. I have a question about the village of Kiselivka. Recently, the enemy attacked Kiselivka using tactical aircraft, damaging 40 houses. And my question is the following: do you have any cases when the house is attacked after restoration? Just 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, one of the houses where roof, facade, windows had been restored, the windows and roof were damaged again as a result of the enemy's attack. A contractor contacted us sharing this information, but there is now one infrastructure facility where the work has been completed, but unfortunately it has been damaged again. You've also mentioned that for 40 infrastructure facilities, they were restored at the expense of owners. Are you going to compensate that repairs? When it comes to the side-by-side program, it is the first stage of work. As for the first stage of work, of the first phase, we are focused on restoring facilities at the expense of the funds transferred to the Kherson region budget, namely 20 million that have been allocated from the Odesa budget. And now we have been restoring those facilities in line with the documents approved and the certificates that we have. As for the cases where owners have restored facilities to their expense, I do not have the information now. Perhaps they will be compensated, but using other sources, because through this program we can finance work of contractors. As far as I understand, there are different level of damages for different houses, but on average, how much money is needed to restore a house? The situations are different. Sometimes we need to replace only 2 windows. In other cases, a roof should be restored. There are the houses that have been completely destroyed. People cannot reside there. The families are not there. They have left, and they will be they will be restored during the second phase. But now we are focused on those facilities and houses where people still reside or stayed, for people to feel comfortable under the conditions that they are there. So the amount of work is different. Sometimes a wall can be damaged, sometimes a roof can be damaged. Other houses have seen more severe damages. But if people are still there, we try to restore these houses as our priority. What is the situation with the power supply, gas supply? Everything is there. So these villages still have all this supply. Different patron regions have under their surveillance different, and their management different facilities. And perhaps our case is not that complex comparing to other settlements, so we don't see any significant issues related to power or gas supply. What is the contractor that you cooperate with? There are different contractors for different settlements. Are these local companies or not? These are Odesa companies. We asked them to go there and to work there in the framework of the mentioned program. 20 million was allocated from the Odesa budget. As far as I understand, you're not going to allocate more this year. At the moment, the amount is 20 million, and it will depend on the further need. Of course, we will analyze the situation. If more money is needed, we will consider our possibilities, and if it's possible, perhaps we'll be able to provide this money through subvention or using other tools. Because now it is the possible funds from the state budget are considered for other objects. Because even the settlements that I've mentioned, like there are also some other settlements like Lubimivka and 3 more settlements in Chernobyevka community, where we have the role of partner. They will be financed at the expense of the state budget. We are waiting for subvention. Do we have any questions from the floor? There are no questions. I have a question. So you've mentioned that there are 257 facilities to be restored. Yes, the general number is 257 houses, because we have not started to work on social infrastructure, because the houses are our priority for people to be able to live there. And what about social facilities like schools, shops, etc.? As for schools, at the moment, in the Kiselivka village, there is a lyceum and a school, a nursery, to be precise. These 2 facilities are managed by the Khersonska regional administration. I don't know where they have found funds, but they decided to deal with them on their own. As for other facilities, we will consider them lately, because they're different damages, different facilities damaged, like kindergartens, social clubs. We are waiting for the decision made with respect to the state funding, and then we will be able to make a decision. Does the program envisages the possibility of fully rebuilding some facilities? Yes, and we have some facilities that have been completely destroyed, and they should be constructed from the scratch. We need to prepare design documents, and this is a more complex work, more complex job, because those facilities that have been under restoration at the moment, we do not need to prepare some more detailed documents, because there are no construction changes envisaged. But for those facilities where the rebuilding is needed, we need to develop design documents, and the design organization has started performing the work needed, and the preparation has started. There are a lot of issues related to the situations where there are destroyed houses or partially damaged houses, but people don't have documents proving their ownership. This is a very challenging issue, because in this case, in such cases, we face some legislative issues, and we cannot help these people. What is the problem with these ownership documents? Because those houses perhaps have been inherited from one generation to another. So there's the cases when they built something additional to the house, but no documents were issued for that additional part. There are a lot of such cases, especially when it comes to villages. That's why these are legal issues that we need to settle somehow. And we will solve this issue together with communities. And as for the Odesa region, do you have any information about how many houses have been damaged because of the attacks of Russian occupiers in the Odesa region? Right. I don't have the general number at the moment. As for precise numbers, but there are different programs like e-відновлення, e-restoration, and this program envisages compensation to people for the damaged property. In the framework of our administration, we help to restore social facilities like educational institutions, and at the moment, the Odesa Polytechnic University is under reconstruction. Two-thirds of tasks have been completed, namely the substitution of windows. More than 10,000 of square meters of windows were damaged because of the attack of Russia on Odessa, and we have already spent 15 million hryvnias to substitute those windows. And in some cases, the losses amount to 45 million hryvnias for that university. We have 9 or 10 facilities, namely educational institutions, that, following the order of the head of our administration, are under our scrutiny. We have been finalizing simplified design documents, construction documents. These are only those houses, facilities that were damaged because of missile attacks. And what is the invoice for the Polytechnic University? As for windows, it's 45 million. This is what is needed to prepare this university for opening to students, for them to be ready to the heating season. So this is the part of winterization. And our goal was to help them to get prepared to the educational year, and also to conduct main repairs. But there are a lot of additional tasks related to ceilings, to walls, and we used veterans funds to restore a roof in one of the buildings that was also damaged by the missile attack. When the order is our department, it is 45 million. You mentioned patrons. Is it covered by Odessa patrons? Yes, these are the patrons from Odessa. Does the regional budget envisage funds to restore houses in the Odessa region this year? Private houses that are damaged by missile attacks. There is a e-відновлення program, which is financed by the state budget. So the regional budget is not involved in the process. The regional budget focuses on those facilities that need emergency repairs. And again, taking into consideration our possibilities. When it comes to houses, residential buildings, there are other compensation programs. There is a clearly developed action plan how to get compensation. Thank you very much for being with us today. And I would like to remind that we've had with us Serhiy Zhyrnyi, Acting Director of the Odessa Regional Department of Capital Construction and Roads of the Odessa Regional Military Administration. This is the last briefing for today. See you tomorrow.